All right. And you've got your phone right beside you, right?
Yeah, but I'm just going to toggle back and forth between Instagram and on my
Yeah. No, I
computer.
mean, like once I go live, will you see the live on StreamYard or it's just going to be on Instagram?
I'm going to see it on StreamYard. Because I
Okay.
have Instagram open. Um, yeah, we're good. I can see us on Instagram and I can see us on StreamYard, so we're good to go.
Perfect. All right. And I'm going to go live on mine right now.
All right.
Let's do this thing.
We
Let's
are
figure it
living.
out.
People are joining.
We living. Okay. So once I put this on, I'm going to invite you. So we are live everywhere. Yay.
We are living. This is cray cray.
This is
So exciting.
wonderful. So I'm
Okay, I
inviting
gotta
you
take
to
my
join
glasses
me.
off so I can see my screen. Hello, hello. Hey, Michelle. Hey, Brittany, Jenna. Awesome.
Can you see my invite to join?
Did you send me an invite?
Yes, I did.
No, but I'm already joined. I'm not joined
Okay.
on yours.
That's what I'm saying. There might be a little, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Guys, what's up? I'm going to attach my aunt's Instagram. You're going to go over there and join the live. I'm going to put it in here 1 second. Hey, she's
Yeah, because
wonderful. She's right beside me.
I'm just I'm just seeing if that's gonna work over here on my phone, Charity. Oh, I see it. I see it. I see it. Okay.
Okay. You're good?
I think so.
Yay, we have it. We have it. Hey, Kevin. Hey, everybody. Hey,
Okay, except for
everybody.
that my phone is looking the wrong way. Hang on. Here we go.
Okay.
Oh, technology. Lord have mercy.
We really had to get our lives fully together. We're live on StreamYard. We're live on LinkedIn. We're live on Instagram. We're live literally in Times Square right now. We're live everywhere.
We're live on YouTube. Yeah, it's
We're live
madness.
everywhere. Well, guys, welcome to my aunt's virtual book launch for her new and incredible book, The Rise of Rage, which I have right here. I'm so lucky to be one of the first people to have access to this incredible book. Auntie, I would love if you introduce yourself, kind of about what you do, the work you do. You're an amazing psychotherapist. Just give us some context to who we have the pleasure of experiencing tonight.
Sure. My name is Julie Christiansen, and I'm going to move my phone so y'all can see me from both sides. This is really weird. Yeah, I'm Julie, and I am a registered psychotherapist in private practice. I have been doing this work for over 30 years, and yeah, I have done all manner of different types of jobs, both in the public sector and in the private sector. I've worked in publishing and done some corporate executive coaching, that sort of thing. But my love and my passion is helping to create radical, positive, lasting change. That is what I'm about. And everything that I write is written from that heart. So this book, The Rise of Rage, is book number 13.
13
My
books,
book.
just 13 books, written 13 books, just out and available. That's amazing.
Yeah, so this is number 13, published on the 13th. So I feel like that's a good sign.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm really proud of it. I'm really proud of it. I'm excited to get into it and to share some of the ideas from the book with everybody tonight.
Well, me too. For everyone who's on, stay on as long as possible. We will be taking live questions. If you have any questions about emotional wellness, navigating relationships, or dealing with someone who maybe has an anger issue, but is it an anger issue? We're going to actually get into that too, because
I know.
you define it very specifically, and it's not what we're normally used to hearing. So, again, we're going to get into it. We're going to take live questions, and we're also going to do a giveaway, which obviously, if you're going to win, you have to be present. 2 giveaways. So if you're going to win, you got to be here. So stay on as long as possible. We're only planning to be here for an hour, so you don't have to block off the rest of your night, but hang out with us as long as you possibly can. Yes. All right. So without further ado, because there's just so much to discuss, we're not going to waste any time. First of all, I want to know, just like as curiosity, for someone who's known you my whole life, Why was anger the emotion you decided to gravitate toward? Why was this the one you decided to focus your attention toward when there's so many other things you could have chosen? Why anger?
Well, first of all, just between you and me, you're a Grant, so you understand.
But that's why I asked you, because I'm like, this could be like a family history thing. This could be cultural. Like, why did you pick this?
So what happened was I was just about finishing university, and I already knew, like I knew from a little kid, that I wanted to be a psychotherapist. And so I was I wanted to be a psychiatrist actually. And then I realized that medical school was involved, and then I changed my mind.
You're like, actually.
Yeah, exactly. Blood, bodily fluids, not my thing.
I'm good.
So I was like, I'm not doing that. So, but I knew I wanted to work with people. Somebody's trying to phone me right now. Bad timing. So I was like, I want to do something. I want to help people. So I went to school to study psychology. I did a double major actually in psychology and English, hence the psychology and the writing.
Yeah.
But I always wanted to publish books. I always wanted to work with people. But when I got working in the mental health field, I realized that people needed something to help them learn how to manage those big feelings or how to express those big feelings. And there were no resources available. So I started doing the research because, like we needed a solution. And once I started doing the research and I started applying it to my own life, I was like, I think I have some anger issues that maybe.
Really? So it wasn't until you started studying that you realized within yourself, like, I think I have some anger issues.
Yes. Yeah, I didn't have a name for it before.
Yeah.
I think the name was more.
You might hear rain in the back. I
loneliness.
apologize in advance.
No, that's fine. That's fine. But yeah, it was like I had other names for it. It was rejection. It was abandonment. It was, other things. But then when I saw how I responded to other people, I realized, this is me trying to express my anger, but I don't like the way it feels. And I don't like the way that I'm hurting people, So I realized that I should probably kitchen test everything before I ever asked anybody to do what I was asking them to do. And so I was literally my first client.
Okay, so you said something important. You said it wasn't until you started educating yourself that you realized that you had a problem. Many people may not get to the point where they're educating themselves and they get to the point where they realize, oh, I have a problem. How do you deal with people like that who are completely unaware? And even in the book, you have the example of this hypothetical person named, I think it was Avery, who is just belligerent and he's aggressive and he's married to someone who's naturally more passive. And when you kind of go through her thought process as to why she's not going to address him, it's like, well, there's no point. You're not going to listen. You're just going to blame me. There's going to be no resolve. So how do you help someone like that who doesn't see that there's a problem, who's never really going to apologize and take accountability? What other option do you have but then to leave, like she ends up doing in your example?
Yeah, I think the first thing that needs to happen is there needs to be awareness. People like Avery or other people who are just they're lacking the self-awareness. They need to take the blinders off. So it's really the only way that.
So is the only way the people like that take off their blinders is when something drastic happens, like somebody leaves them or they lose their family, or there's like a very serious life consequence that they're like, oh shoot, I don't like this. What did I contribute to this? At that point, is it like, oh, maybe I had something to do with it? Or is it just a perpetual indefinite denial?
Well, that's a deeper question. I don't know if I can answer that fully tonight, but I think that there are going to be two different types of people. There are going to be the people who hit rock bottom and go, I need to change myself. I need to do something about the person that I am if I want to get different results. And then there are going to be people who say, that wasn't my fault. They didn't have to be in a relationship with me. They didn't have to keep secrets from me. Like they'll always find a way to make it not them. And I write about this in the book. the difference between an internal locus of control and an external locus of control. An external locus of control says anything good that happens to me is a gift from the gods. Anything that bad that happens to me is either the gods punishing me or it's other people. It's their fault. It wasn't me. Right? Things just happen to me. I don't have any control over my own life because it's an external locus of control. People with an internal locus of control are more likely to say, maybe I need to reflect on what I did to contribute to this situation, right?
Yeah.
It's easier for them to say, oh, I had this amazing success. I contributed to that.
Yeah. Right. In the same way that, oh, I had this significant loss. Did I contribute to this? Like, why is it only you have the capacity to contribute when it's good, but it has nothing to do with you if it's negative?
Yeah. So with an internal locus of control, it is easier to say, God is good. I am blessed. But I also recognize that I did some work. I did something to contribute to this. And when something goes wrong, I don't immediately go, God is punishing me.
Right.
I look and I go, okay, so what can I do differently so that I can get a different outcome next time? So it really, it depends a lot on how our personalities are wired, whether or not that awareness will ever sink in.
I love that. Okay, I have another question based on kind of maybe the origins of why anger was the emotion you chose to focus on. Do you think that there is a certain parenting style that contributes heavily to people who end up with anger issues? Because you talk to a lot of people, you've been saying this, you talk to people from all walks of life in different professions, different cultures. Do you think parenting has a direct correlation to many of the people you encounter?
Yes and no.
Okay.
Because our origins do not necessarily determine what we become.
Right.
Take an alcoholic parent, for example. The parent is never really fully emotionally available. They spend their evenings sort of doused in alcohol. They don't interact with their children. They might be verbally abusive, physically abusive, whatever, or they may just be very quiet drunks. We don't know.
Yeah.
The kids are going to notice that. But if you have two children from that family, it is possible that one of them will grow up to be an alcoholic and the other will grow up sober. Because one might say, I saw how this alcoholism affected my family, and I'm not going to repeat that pattern of behavior, so I'm going to resist it, and I'm going to live my life differently. Whereas the other might say, my grandfather was an alcoholic, my dad was an alcoholic, therefore I will also be an alcoholic. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it really comes down to the mindset of the individual and the choices they decide to make as to whether or not they're going to choose to behave in ways that are aggressive and violent, or whether they're going to find healthier ways to express their emotions.
Right. So with that being said, you mentioned when you were, I think, a preteen, assertive talk was not acceptable. I guess, standing up for what you believed or wanted, it was kind of like, I assume that contributed to maybe the inner feelings of feeling unheard, unseen, and acting out maybe in rage or aggression was the way, like, this is the only way you hear me. This is the only way I get attention. Do you think that correlates to growing up then to then have these outbursts, not knowing it's like, a problem that stemmed from years ago of not being seen and heard?
Yeah, so I'm assuming you said you only got a few chapters in because you just got the book like yesterday or the day before.
Yes.
So there is a chapter in there about ACEs, adverse childhood experiences. And our adverse childhood experiences, depending on how intense they were and how many of them we had, certainly do inform the way that we respond when we're feeling some kind of way. Now, we also have to remember that it's not just our adverse childhood experiences, it is also the personality that God gifted us with, right? Some people are introverted, some people are extroverted, some people are more sensitive, some people are more perceiving, so some are more judging, so whatever. So we have to think about the fact that our personality profile, when it interacts with our ACEs, is going to create a certain type of response. Likewise, if I have an internal locus of control versus an external locus of control, that's also going to inform how I respond to my ACEs.
Right.
So if I think of the little girl who grew up in a war-torn country, and her earliest memories are of hiding and being quiet so that the soldiers wouldn't find her and her family, she grows up learning that the way to survive is to hide and be quiet.
Yeah.
But she's an extrovert.
Right.
She was created to be an extrovert. Her profile is the entertainer. And so every time she runs away and she's quiet, she gets depressed. She feels unhappy. She doesn't feel good about herself. Why? Because she's responding in a way that's not consistent with her personality. And that response was informed by her trauma. Right?
Yeah.
So it's not as simple as saying, well, the stuff I endured when I was a kid has made me who I am. No, you are who you are, but the stuff that you endured as a kid has informed the way that you're responding now. And maybe the way you're responding right now isn't reflective at all of who you really are. So it's a little bit more complex.
So at the end of the day, it's very layered. It's not as simple as being like, oh, well, when I was a child, I wasn't allowed to speak my mind, and now X. Like, there are so many things that contribute to the outcome. And I think also, I mean, in this day and age, there are so many, therapists we might follow on Instagram. There's so many resources available to us for free that sometimes we can almost think that we're qualified to diagnose someone and be like, oh, this is because, especially if you're in a relationship, be like, this sounds like, and like labeling them, you're probably responding out of trauma, things of that nature. I think it can be a little dangerous. So that also, I think, is good to keep in mind. It's never as simple as just X. Like, there's so many other things and contributing factors to why someone might be expressing themselves in a certain way. Okay. For anyone who is on, if you have a question, we want the questions to come in now so that we can go back in a few minutes and take some live questions. Anything related to mental wellness, emotional wellness, relationship navigation with someone who may have anger outbursts and who may hurt you in the process, how to deal, how to help, and how to keep your sanity in a situation like that. But before we do that, I love that you said this. I'm going to read this quote. There is no such thing as common sense. People do what makes sense to them. And, we hear the saying common sense. It's not that common. Kind of expound on what you meant by that, because I thought it was so important. We just think that a lot of things are just given. You should just know that. People do what makes sense to them. It's not necessarily this blanket, it applies to everybody common sense. Kind of expound on that.
Yeah. So this is something that comes out of William Glasser's work. And William Glasser is the founder or the brain behind choice theory, which informs a lot of my work. And the notion that I got from Glasser's work is exactly that there isn't any such thing as common sense. And what I mean when I say people do what makes sense to them, if you think about, for example, the example that we looked at earlier of two children coming from a family of alcoholics. One child looks at that and says, why would anybody want to poison their bodies with alcohol? Why would anybody want to dull their emotions and numb themselves so much that they can't actually feel? That doesn't make sense to me. Therefore, I will never drink. I will never smoke. I will never use mood-altering drugs because it doesn't make sense, right? And then the other child will say, I can't live in this pain. I've been living in this pain all my life. I've had to sit here and look at my father drink himself into oblivion. I see my mom have to do all the work, whatever. Or like, we're living in a single parent family now because my father couldn't hold down a job and I'm never going to amount to anything. And this life is so painful and nobody loves me. And my girlfriend just left me. And so I'm just going to do what I know to do. And that is to consume alcohol because alcohol numbs my emotions and I don't want to feel this pain. It makes sense to me. Like I think about drug users. There is a drug that came out of Russia. It's called crocodile. Have you heard of this?
No, I have not.
Okay. Crocodile,
It sounds intense.
it's nasty. Okay. This drug, when you inject it into your body, it literally causes a gangrene like illness, and it literally eats your skin away. It turns your skin green and scaly, looks like a crocodile. That's why it's crocodile. It's Russian for crocodile.
Wow.
And it literally eats your skin away until your bones are exposed. Who would do that?
Right.
Who would do that? But there are people dying from using crocodile. Somehow, using that drug makes sense for them.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they would
For
never
some
do it.
reason.
For some reason. We don't know what that is.
So
but
is it
works
just
for them.
so is it just about, I guess, finding a level of respect for people in general, to be like, at the end of the day, people are going to do what makes sense to them. And for some reason, whatever experiences they've been through have made them believe that this makes sense. Is it really just to be like a point of grace, to be like, okay, well, I don't get it, but that's what makes sense for them?
Yeah. Honestly, I think if we just adopted that singular mindset, we could let go of a lot of the angst that we have towards people.
Right.
If we just said, I understand it makes sense for you. It doesn't make sense for me.
Right.
I can still love you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to understand you. Right? I don't have to understand you. I don't have to be like you.
Yeah.
But I can still show you grace, and I can still show you love. Yeah.
And I feel like we honestly underestimate the amount of freedom there is, even personally, for you to live that way. I don't have to get it. Okay, you like that, cool. And it's, in most cases, stuff that irritates us really has no consequence. Like, it's not a right or wrong. It's just preference. It's just, that's what it is. So I think it's not just gracious to extend it, it's freeing to extend it for yourself, knowing that that is your business. And if that's what you want to do, God bless you. But to take hours and phone calls of time being like, I don't understand why. It's just like, what other things could I be putting this energy toward? But instead, I'm just, talking about what you're doing that I don't understand. It's really okay. Like, okay, cool. And being disconnected and being like, that's your autonomy. This is mine. I don't get it. That's cool. And having a mutual respect for the difference.
Yes. Yeah. Even just the habit of trolling and going on people's feeds and making comments and starting stuff, like, is that the only way that you can find your significance? Because that's really what you're doing. You're trying to find significance by being this type of, blustery person who's always right and always blowing up people's feeds. I think there are healthier ways to find significance in the world.
You do not have to comment on everything you don't agree with. You do not have to push your opinion. Like, I don't agree with that. I think that's ugly. I think she looks crazy. Okay. And, people will say, well, people decided to put their lives out there. Of course, we have a right to comment. It's like, I don't think that we understand that it's not even serving us to be doing that. It's not that you're just, sharing your opinion. You're doing yourself a disservice, your own spirit, your emotional well-being. Like, you're not even helping yourself. So if you truly cared about yourself and your opinion and your time and your energy, you'd probably be a lot more selective of where you input your opinion. You know what I mean?
I saw somebody posted a picture of Tracy Chapman singing at the Country Music Awards the other night. And she was like, look at this skin. This is the skin of someone who is not rolling up in the comments. This is the skin of someone who's doing her piece. And I was like, yes.
This is the skin of somebody who minds their business. Like, who does not have the time to be bothered. No, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Even, just recently on Sunday, Alicia Keys sang, voice cracks a couple times, and people just couldn't wait to, and I get it. Maybe she's not your favorite singer, but to tear somebody down, doing something that most of us would shake in our boots at the thought of in front of the entire world, singing, sharing your gift. I just like, where's the grace? Where is the grace? Okay. One more thing I wanted to touch on, and it's not the last thing, just one more thing in addition to what we've already touched on, was your highlighting of how important it is to accurately express what you're feeling. And I thought it was so enlightening. You talked about a friend who just labeled everything as either like happy, sad, upset. Like there was like 4 different words and it covered everything. Childbirth, a birthday, shoes. It was just all kind of on the same playing field. And you said she didn't realize how it really limited someone connecting with her because her vocabulary was so limited as to how she felt. I wanted you to kind of expound on that a bit and how just the importance of properly labeling how we're feeling, A, for the sake of connection, but also B, for the sake of accurately labeling it, because you said depending on what you say, you might end up feeling something that you didn't actually mean. And you're altering the level of what you're experiencing because of your choice of words. And I wanted you to touch on that because I thought that was so powerful.
Yeah, absolutely. But before I do that, I just want to mention if you are watching via LinkedIn, I can see your comments. But when I post a comment back, you will not be able to see my comments. So I just want you to know that I'm not ignoring you when you're posting comments. They're popping up in StreamYard. I can see them, but I am unable to write a comment back because I guess it doesn't have that ability to communicate both ways. So just wanted to put that out there. So yes, it is absolutely important. If you just think about a time when you were feeling really, really angry about something, and you think of the word that you used, you'll notice that your body kind of goes into a state that corresponds with the word. So if you just think about something that makes you really, really upset, and you apply the word livid to it. Okay. So if you say, oh, this happened to me and then that happened, and I was just so livid, like whenever I say the word livid, my body just automatically does this. My hands clench into fists, my teeth get tight. I start talking through my teeth. And someone says, how are you sure everything is okay? And I'm like, I'm fine.
I'm fine.
Okay. I'm not fine.
Right.
Right. So you can feel your body sort of go into that state. And one of the experiments, maybe we should do it right now, that I do with people is I'll say, okay, so imagine a time when you were just ridiculously happy. Okay. Ridiculously happy, happiest day of your life. Everything is coming up roses and you're just thrilled, and put yourself in that state of extreme happiness, put a smile on your face. And then as you are smiling, right, say with as much intensity and as much passion as you can possibly say, I feel so depressed. So you're trying to smile, trying to be relaxed, trying to feel all happy. And then you go, I'm so depressed. And if you say it like you mean it, what happens is the muscles in your face start to do this thing where they try to go into depressed. Like
Right. It's trying to,
you can feel them twitching. They're
yeah,
trying to do what you're
what you're
saying,
telling exactly.
right? So the words we use matter. And this is why I'm constantly after my teenage clients when they're like, oh, I didn't do well on my test. I'm so depressed. Like, stop it.
Yeah.
Stop it.
Yeah.
Because every time you say that, oh, this happened and I'm so depressed. Well, you're upset. You're disappointed. The body carries different energy with disappointed than depressed, right? Disappointment is fleeting. Depression is deep, it's oppressive. If you think about the word depressed, depression is a dampening of your central nervous system. Everything slows down, your emotions go heavy, your skin conductivity even changes, right? So everything about your physiology shifts when you use the word depressed, even if you don't mean it. But if you say it enough and you say it with enough intensity, your body's going to do what you're
It's
telling
going to
it
respond.
Yes.
I love this. This is like my favorite topic, like the power of words, your belief system. Right now in our book club, we're reading The Power of Your Subconscious Mind. And this is so in alignment. It's the fact that when the Bible says the power of life and death is in your tongue, like it wasn't just trying to be cute.
Yes.
It was like,
Yes.
no, literally what you say is going to manifest because that's just how we were created. So I think labeling your emotions accurately, like that was so good to me. Like, of course, we have moments where we're being dramatic and sarcastic, even like, oh, it's raining, I'm so depressed, oh my God, like, don't say that. And being like, it's actually that serious. Like, no, 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 you're disappointed, you'd prefer if it was sunny. Okay, you know, whatever the word is, it's not that, right? And I think you highlighting that in the book and then also giving a spectrum as to certain words that could be used,
Yeah.
it was so helpful, especially for anyone who struggles with kind of automatically going really negative really soon. Maybe it's just, you know, we're sarcastic in nature, or we're kind of cynical. It's like, oh, it's not a big deal. Like, these things are literally like you said, your words have energy. They're creating something.
Yeah.
So if it's not helping you, it's, you know what I mean? It's this or that. It's hot or cold. It's life or death. There's no middle ground. There's no medium. There's no neutral. Like, make sure we are speaking in a way that doesn't further injure us emotionally
Exactly.
or mentally. So that was so good. One other thing I wanted to ask. Okay, so you say so often in this book and in former things that you've done, you emphasize that anger is not behavior. For anyone who may have never heard that before, they think of anger and you visibly see someone acting out or punching a wall or yelling, driving crazy, slamming on brakes. Break it down. What you say so often, anger is not behavior, it's an emotion. Go ahead.
All right. So this is everything hinges on this.
Right.
Because anger management, traditional anger management, is about behavior modification. It's about behavior management. And so you get advice like take a deep breath, count to 10, go for a walk, go to the gym, work it off. Those are all behaviors.
Yeah.
None of those things address the emotional state. Okay. And what we know for sure is that anger is an emotional response to a problem. Okay. The same way that fear is a protective emotional response to make sure that you keep yourself safe when there's danger. Anger is an emotional response that is designed to let you know when there are problems in your life. And so here are the 4 problems. When your rules are broken, okay, when your expectations or needs are not being met, when your boundaries are violated, excuse me, when your boundaries are violated, or when you're trying to attain a goal and something is getting in the way of that goal. So when little Rain is saying, I want to crawl, but I haven't figured it out yet. So she's on her hands and knees and she's rocking back and forth, but she can't figure out how to do, like what goes where. And then she falls down. She's going to cry. Why? Because she's frustrated.
Yeah.
Trying to do something and she can't figure it out. So she's mad. Right?
Yep.
So you think about when someone violates a boundary. You talked about this a little bit where people were like coming up to you and they were like, I just want to kiss the baby. And it's like,
or their dog.
No.
Yeah.
Right.
Actually,
No. Boundary violation. That is a massive boundary violation, right? People touch your stomach when you're pregnant, or they're like, oh, your hair is so cool. Can I touch it? You don't touch my hair while you're asking permission.
Right.
That's a boundary violation.
Mm-hmm.
Right? When a parent, listen up, parents, I'm coming for you. When a parent reads their child's diary, that is a boundary violation. Can I just let that hang for a second?
Yeah, I'm letting it hang.
That is a boundary violation. When parents tell their children about the intimate details of their relationship with the child's other parent, boundary violation.
Yeah.
When divorced parents use their children as pawns, you tell your mother this, you tell your father that. No, that's a boundary violation. Okay. So boundary violations, I think, perhaps may be the number one reason why we get angry, because we haven't been taught healthy boundaries.
So is this because the boundary was crossed, or we didn't adequately, in alignment with how we felt, stand up for ourselves in that moment?
It's a little bit of both. right? I've had people violate my boundaries, and I was like, I don't feel safe. I don't feel safe enough to say that was not okay. Please don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm angry at them for violating the boundary, but sure, I'm also angry at myself because I didn't stand up for myself, right? So
Right.
it can be a little bit of both. But anyhow, so we feel this thing, we feel this energy because we have these problems. And what anger management has taught us to do is that it's more important to fix the way we feel by doing something else, right? Just make the feeling go away. Go for a walk, count to 10, take a deep breath.
That's so
Okay,
true.
but
It's so true. And the thing is, like, when you hear these things, you're like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Like, you never stop to think, is that actually dealing with the root? So that's
right.
why I'm so happy you're talking about this. Okay, I'm sorry for interrupting. Keep
No,
going. This
no,
is
that's
so good.
okay. It's just like if I take a deep breath and I walk away and I go to the gym and I beat on the heavy bag, but I don't actually solve the problem, I will remain angry.
Right.
It's a temporary fix to stop me from doing something dangerous because anger is dangerous, which is a farce. What you do may be dangerous, but a lot of people don't do anything.
Yeah.
They just sit home and stew over it, and it's dangerous for them, but it's not dangerous for anybody else because now they're the one with the ulcer,
And the physical problems
right?
emerging because
Yeah,
you may have said it in this or I read it somewhere else.
yeah,
Emotions will be expressed one way or the other, whether
yeah,
you express it or your body is like doesn't know what to do with it. It has to express it. So whether it's in the form of sickness, like you said, an ulcer, high blood pressure, whatever it is, it will be expressed
yes,
somehow, which is just insane, like the mind body emotional
yeah,
body connection.
yeah.
So one thing that you highlight in here is the 9 different anger styles. Is that the right term for it?
10 of them, yeah.
10 different anger styles, which I thought this was so good because many of us may be like, I'm not an angry person, because we think of anger like you're an angry person, like you, but everybody experiences something that makes them angry. It's how you express it, it's how you deal with it that might differentiate.
Yeah.
So without getting into all of them, I wanted to highlight what you call the give and take method, which I just thought was I am all for productivity and like handling things in a way that makes sense, where nobody leaves hurt and damaged. Nobody has to like go in a corner and cry for 3 hours to get over what you said because you
Right.
couldn't navigate the emotion adequately. So I'm just going to read this little part that explains the give and take method. I think this is so important, and everybody should be listening right now to take pointers for your next conflict. The next time something arises where you're angry, this is how you handle it with the person that was involved, okay? The give and take approach puts emotional expression and problem solving first. We are problem solving. We're getting to the root of the problem. We're not personally attacking. I'm not being condescending towards you. I'm not insulting you and ripping you apart. We are solving the problem, which is just step one, problem solving. Okay. It is about focusing on the problem instead of the person. It is about valuing relationships enough to seek to understand before being understood. Why is this so hard? Why is this so hard? Why is it so hard to be like, let me understand before I need you to see where I'm coming from? Let me hear you
Yeah.
out first. Why do we have such a hard time listening?
Yeah, Stephen Covey I believe it was Stephen Covey who said that people listen with the intent to reply. They don't listen with the intent to understand. So it is definitely a learned skill. But once we acquire that skill, we can master that skill. I think part of it, oh my gosh, this is charity. Yes, it's a good
What?
question. I need time. I need time to answer this one.
I know, 20 minutes.
I think that because we are egocentric creatures at heart and we want to be heard, we want to be understood, and we think that the way the best way to be understood is for us to do all the talking. But the thing that I love about good listening skills is that when you have good listening skills, the byproduct of that is deep connection, right? When you really learn how to be centered in a conversation and you share your heart, but you also allow the other person to share their heart, when they feel truly valued and respected because you're listening to them deeply, that fosters a kind of connection and a kind of loyalty that is very hard to shake. So when we talk about problem solving and dialogue, I think because we haven't been taught how to do this effectively when we were children, uh, then it becomes more difficult as we get older. And I think the other challenge is that sometimes the more you know someone, the less you want to do that. And it's a really weird kind of paradox.
It's so weird because it's usually the
But
person we really do love the most.
right,
It's the
you
closest
know,
to us. And for some reason, we just take that connection for granted and don't think that we need to maintain it, or it's just like you'll always be there. I don't know if it's I don't know.
yeah, I think part of it is that we get used to the responses from our loved ones, and so we just automatically assume that we know
Yeah.
what they're going to say and what they're going to do. And like if we look at Avery, and I think, is it Debbie or Diane? I can't remember what I called
I think
her.
it's
But
Debbie.
Avery and Debbie, in that example, Debbie was like, I know what he's going to do. He's going to be like this. And so I'm not going to bother. And how many times do we have that where we have a disagreement with our partner or a sibling or a parent, and we don't want to share our views because we don't feel safe enough to be vulnerable with that person? But if this is the person you said you're going to spend the rest of your life with, shouldn't they be the person that you feel safe enough to be most vulnerable with?
Yes, but what if you don't? What if they
Well,
haven't proven to be safe? Let's like some people, they have maybe the word is an aversion to accountability. They don't like being held accountable to maybe a way they have conversations or the way they deal with conflict or the way they deal with disappointment. It can be difficult to try. It's like you're risking being more hurt by bringing this to them. And sometimes it could just be like, I'm not even going to bother. I'm not even putting myself in a
yeah,
position to be more offended, to be more bothered. Um, so I
I
see it on
understand
both
that.
sides.
Yeah, I understand that, and I have sat on both sides. But what I realize, particularly in the relationships that matter most to me, so one of the things I encourage people to do is to ask yourself the question, what is the lifetime value of this event? What is the lifetime value of this event? Because if this event has no lifetime value, I'm not investing anything in it. Why should I? Right? Somebody sees me on the street, walking down the street, and they've got a little bit of a racist vibe going on, and they say, go back to Africa. Okay, so number one, never been, would love to go,
Would actually love to.
but I'm not going to get all wound up and offended over that, because this relationship has no lifetime value. I'm going to pass you on the street. You're going to be who you are. I'm going to be who I am, and I will carry on with my life, and our interaction means nothing to me.
That's so
So,
good. It's
right?
so wise, but it can be so difficult in that moment to pass up an opportunity to tell somebody off or to get too emotionally invested. But asking that question, like, what is the lifetime?
Whoop, sorry.
You said lifetime value, right, of
Yeah,
this exchange or this
yeah.
relationship. There's none. So that means you're not worth any more than whatever this is right now.
I don't need to give you any of my energy. But if it's my husband, there's lifetime value there,
Yeah,
right? Because he's the person that I pledged to spend my life with.
right.
So now I have to ask myself, what is the lifetime value of the disagreement we're having or the conflict we're having? Is this a big deal? Is this going to impact the way we raise our kids, our grandkids? Is it going to impact the quality of life in our marriage? Then I need to talk to him about this. it's worth taking the risk,
Yeah.
right, to have the conversation.
Right.
And then I also can choose the way in which I'm going to approach the conversation. Do I want to approach him by going, "You always do this, and why can't you ever?" And blah 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 blah. If I approach it like that, we're fighting, right? But if I approach it from a place of love and empathy and honesty, in which I am not, listen, I don't even have time to talk about fighting fair right now, but I'm not bringing up anything from the past.
Right.
I am not looking for ammunition because we are partners. We're a team. We play on the same side.
Yeah. Like I'm
We are
not
not
going down my list
adversaries.
of like, and in addition, last week and last
Exactly.
month, and when I first met you, I always knew that this is like, it's the
Yeah, we're
issue
not
at
doing that.
hand. The issue at hand.
Yeah, we are not doing that. Focus on the problem. And the problem right now is this.
Yeah.
You know, when we were raising our kids, a lot of the arguments that we had were about what we were going to do about the kids. And we disagreed, but at the end of the day, we both wanted the same thing. And what we wanted was for our children to grow up to be healthy, happy, contributing members of society. That's what we wanted.
Right.
We just disagreed on how we were going to get them there.
Right.
Right. So when it came right down to it, it was like, we want the same things. And so we need to be able to hash it out and we need to be comfortable with disagreeing because at the end of the day, we will find a solution to the presenting problem and we'll figure it out if we work together. But if I decide you're a jerk, you never listen to me, and I go down that road, and he says you're a harpy and you're always nagging me, we're not addressing what we're going to do about the kids at all anymore.
Yeah.
It's all just focusing on the person, and so we might feel better because we've got our feelings out, but we
The
still have
problem is still there. The exact same problem is like, hey,
it's
what
still
about
sitting over
me?
there. You know, it's like
It
the
feels
problem
left
is
out. It's like it's lonely because we're not addressing it. We're completely excluding it from the equation. We're just fighting
yeah,
each other when we really have to be on the same page to fight the problem.
exactly.
It's just why does it make so much sense, but it's so difficult to implement sometimes? Because we're so
It
caught up in like, you, and then it's like the
yeah.
problem's like, hey guys,
I just honestly think that nobody taught us how to do this. You
yeah,
know, there's a book out there from years ago called Everything I Need to Know I Learned in Kindergarten. Wrong, because they didn't teach us this,
they
right?
did not.
If they had just said, honey, it's okay for you to be upset that Charity took your toy, but it is not okay for you to beat Charity over the head with that toy. It's not okay. You're entitled to feel angry, but what you're doing right now is not nice.
Right.
You know, so we teach our kids your feelings are here and they're valid, they're legitimate. Oh, what a gift that is to give our kids.
Yeah.
Your feelings are legit. That behavior you're using right now, not okay.
Yeah.
Right? There are other things you can do, other things you can say to let people know you're upset, but you are allowed to feel how you feel.
So good. Okay, I want to keep reading the tools you give in this little paragraph as to how to use the give and take method. So I'm going to continue. You say it's about using effective, assertive, and compassionate communication to solve the problem, preserve the relationship, and release the energy that is attached to the emotion. The give and take style seeks to engage in collaborative conflict or problem resolution, aiming for a win win or a fair result that produces both short and long term gains for both parties. Again, it's just such a healthy, whole way to look at how to solve conflict. And I just hope everybody can see how this is a skill worth acquiring for your long-term quality of life. If you are married, if you intend to get married, if like you're raising kids, whatever situation you're in, even if you're single, you're going to a workplace, you have parents, siblings, any type of relationship, it's a skill worth investing hard-earned time into to master and to get really good at for your own sake and for the sake of people in our lives. And I just feel like stuff like this isn't taken as seriously as maybe acquiring a skill that's going to directly make you money. Or, and I get it, you know, we have to live, we have to survive, we need to be able to afford things, but how many relationships are suffering desperately because we just don't know how to resolve conflict productively? And you said something about I'm trying to remember the anger style of Avery. The scrapper, was that accurate?
Yeah.
Okay. This was so good. You said the challenge with this type of anger expression, it's difficult to trust people who say they love you, but they often hurt you. And let's be clear, when aggression is used in place of communication, relationships fall apart. This to me was just like an entire choir yelling amen. Because you're using aggression, you're using maybe a raised tone, you're using outwardly expressions of anger and rage instead of using words, instead of articulating what's actually going on. Your relationships suffer. Trust is destroyed because I don't even feel safe with you. You're hurting me. Why? If every time you express yourself honestly, I get hurt, there is a problem.
Yes.
It's not supposed to be like that. Exactly. And then you also said many people who, you know, express themselves in this way, they don't even see the big deal. Like, what? They get over it easily. They move on. Like, first of all, it's not even that serious. It's like, you just like took my entire life. Like, what are you talking about? You just disrespected me. You know, demeaned me, whatever, you insulted me, and we're just supposed to move on like nothing happened. And the trust is being destroyed because every time there's honesty, every time you're trying to just present, hey, I didn't like this, I get hurt. And I just thought the outlining of these different styles, but then also providing a solution, do it this way, was so helpful. But I wanted to ask this question. Do you find that the people who maybe need this information the most are the ones that actually purchase the book? Or is it the ones who are trying to deal with the people who need to purchase the book?
Yeah, I mean, you know, if I were to be really real, with Anger Solutions, the first book I wrote about anger, people would see that cover and they would come up to me, you know, at my table or wherever I was, and they would say, I know somebody who needs that book. And I would look right at them and say, yeah, it's probably you. It's probably you. I didn't make a lot of sales back in the day, but like
nobody really bought that one, but
you know, that's the reality. Like if you look at the book, you look at the cover and you go, oh, that's interesting.
But right. No, because to be honest, so far I'm reading it. It's literally like an amazing educational tool, point blank period. And I'm obsessed with emotional health, relationships, all that stuff. Like I'm already obsessed with it. If I had seen The Rise of Rage at the bookstore, I might not have thought that this book was for me. So I think that even speaks to what you're saying.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of times people, I remember I was doing this one particular show. I don't remember where it was, but I had a booth and I had this big, you know, like I had a big poster that was like the cover of the book blown up. And so people saw it and they were like, oh, it's red, it's attractive, you know, so they'd walk closer and then they'd see the word anger and they would literally like take 2 steps back.
My God.
And I'm like, you need this. You right there. Come here. You know, come here, let me talk to you.
It's on the house. Just take it.
Yeah, it's funny how people have this visceral response to the word anger because they do. They believe it's dangerous. They believe that it's damaging, and they're so afraid
like
of
you
it.
say in the book, it's violent, it's aggressive. Yeah. And if you don't identify as someone who engages in that kind of behavior, you might think, well, I'm not an angry person. Meanwhile, you said it's an emotion that everybody experiences. It's just expressed differently depending on, and then you list the differing styles or just your personality, introvert, extrovert. It's just not going to look the same, but that doesn't mean that you don't carry anger in some capacity.
Yeah. Now listen, I know we want to keep going, but we got 5 minutes.
I know.
So there was
So there was a question that came in. Do you have any on your side so we can try and?
I'm looking through the comments here and I don't see any.
Okay, so I have one for Miriam. Miriam, I hope you're still on. If you are, just throw up an emoji or something in the chat. She asks, what's the process of dealing with internalized anger?
Same as what we've been talking about. When you are internalizing your anger, you need to understand that you are doing damage to your own body. Okay. I internalized my anger for the first 20, 25 years of my life. And I'm 55 now. High blood pressure, diabetes, asthma, high cholesterol.
Wow.
Okay. The diseases of holding on,
Wow.
fibromyalgia.
And most people,
I'm just a wonderful cornucopia of
you're like,
so
just
many
look at
different
me.
things.
Here's the list.
But
So,
the thing is, I kept that energy inside me for 25 years and it had nowhere to go.
right.
Right.
Had
And
to
so
express itself.
even though I've changed now, my body is still reflecting the energy that I held on to for all that time.
Wow.
So I'm a living, breathing example of what happens when you bottle your anger up. So if you are accustomed to internalizing your anger, take baby steps. That's the book is written very much in a way that will encourage you to take baby steps. Start by acknowledging how you feel. Validate how you feel. Understand that your feelings and what you do are two separate things. Once you've validated your feelings, your own feelings, start getting comfortable with expressing them. Oh, I love this. This feels really good, right? Because what you don't realize is that you are internalizing your positive feelings as much as you're internalizing your negative ones.
Hmm.
So get used to just saying, "Oh, I'm really happy about this," or I feel really confident today. Like just and eventually you will get comfortable with saying, that made me feel really upset. I didn't like that.
Because it'll
Because
just
I
be a
need to
normal
be
thing. Like you
honest.
just actively share how you feel. So it's not
Yeah,
just when you're upset, it's I'm happy, I'm
all the
confident, I'm
time. Yeah.
great, my hair looks
All the
great.
time
And
I'm
then it's like,
telling my
I'm not
clients.
happy.
Exactly. Yeah. All the time I tell my clients, get comfortable with the discomfort. That's the only way you're going to change. You have to get comfortable with being uncomfortable because that's where the transformation happens is in the discomfort, right? Change is not easy.
No.
Metamorphosis is not easy, but it is possible. You just have to be willing to do the work.
That's the thing, too. I just want to say real quick. I think sometimes we observe people who seem like they have it all together. They're happy. Their life is what everyone would want it to be. They found success. They have a happy relationship. And they think these things just magically happened, that they just got lucky. God likes them more, and they just hit the lottery in life. It takes work. And we may not be seeing what work is taking place behind the scenes. But I could guarantee you it's probably a lot of reading, a lot of reflection, a lot of prayer, a lot of observation, a lot of going in your past and trying to right some wrongs and relearn and unlearn. It takes work. Like it just takes work. No
Yeah,
one has it easier. No one has it. It takes work. And I think
exactly.
it starts with investments like this. I just want to tell you, the rise of rage, you might say, be like, I don't have rage. I don't need this. This is a life skill tool for navigating relationships. It helps you understand what your anger style might be. Talks about trauma. You have so many implementable tools in here. And just as a reader, as your niece, I just want to say you're a boss. I am proud to be holding this and just of what you've accomplished. This is your 13th book. That's massive. Um, we have another question, but I just want to give you your flowers before maybe one of the lives pops off. That this is incredible. It's beautiful. It's available in bookstores. Just kind of give us some context as to where it can be found, and then even give more clarity. Who is this book for?
This book is for anyone who wants to learn the truth about anger, but also who wants to learn how to master their emotions, not just their anger. The
Right.
TSA model that I provide in the book you can use it for any situation and every situation, not just when you're angry. When you get a job offer, you can use TSA, right? Like it's a decision-making model that you can apply in every aspect of your life. So this book is about life mastery, not just about anger.
Life
But
mastery.
life mastery.
Amazing.
But if you can learn to master your emotions and express them in a way that actually helps you solve your problems, your life will be completely transformed.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. I want to get this question in really quick. Do we have time? I know that we just crossed over.
Yes, I believe that YouTube may bump us out at some point. I was told that if we go too far over, that YouTube and LinkedIn might bump us off after an hour. So if you get bumped off, thank you very much for joining us, and I appreciate you so much. And if you do have questions through LinkedIn or YouTube, please hit me up in the DMs, and I will go through and I will answer all of those questions after the fact. Maybe I'll do a follow-up video and just post it everywhere so that people can see that.
Perfect. Okay, so Shamara, hey Shamara, she asks, how do you understand a person that avoids confrontation or hard conversations because they feel like they cannot control their scale of anger and they feel they go from 0 to 100? That is a very good question. What do you have for us?
All right, so there are a couple of parts of this question. The first part is what was the question? How do you communicate with someone, or how do you help a person?
So how do you understand a person that avoids confrontation? And then I guess, how do you navigate that? Like if you need to have a conversation, but the person is afraid to even engage because they get set off really, really fast.
So first thing I will say, Shamara, is the fact that you were able to articulate the question that clearly tells me that you already understand this person. Because you understand their motivations for why they're having difficulty expressing themselves. So I think you've already answered that part. The other part is this, like if people are struggling to express themselves and you want to help them through that process, the first thing you have to do is stay calm. You cannot escalate with them.
And this is even if you are collateral damage in the crossfire, correct?
Well, the thing is, it takes
that part's hard. Like
it is hard. It is hard.
I want to help you, but you're not about to disrespect me, though. So, I mean.
So it sounds like this. Okay, so if someone is being disrespectful to you, but you are honestly trying to help them, then it's a simple thing of keeping your voice right here. This is a skill that I mastered when I worked in mental health, because if I raised my voice, people were going to go psychotic, right? So it was like, I'm just going to stay right here. Please don't talk to me like that. Please don't talk to me like that. Right? I'm your wife. I'm your friend. I'm your sister. I'm your daughter. Please don't talk to me like that. I don't like it when you talk to me like that. I'm trying to help you, right? And you just stay right here. If the behavior continues, that's when you say, you know what, I really would like to help you solve this problem, but I think I need to step away. Okay, so we don't go around telling people you all need to take a time out because there's something wrong with you. No. Do you want people to escalate or not?
For me, I'm gonna step away because I need. That's good.
Right.
That's good.
Yeah, because I can't change you. I can't change you. I can change myself. Yeah. And so if I'm not feeling comfortable,
and you're crossing my boundary.
Yes, then I'm going to say, I don't want to fight. I really don't want to fight. So I'm going to step away for a minute, and I'm going to take a time out because I need some time, because I don't want to fight you. Right? Oh, here goes the phone again. So bad. So if I can keep myself calm, it encourages the other party to try and stay calm. And then the other thing that I can do is I can ask questions. Can you tell me what is the thing that's got you so upset right now? Can you identify that thing? Because I can tell you're upset. I can sort of assume I know how you're feeling, but what really is important to me is what's the problem?
Right.
Can you tell me what the problem is? Because I'd really like to help you solve it. And then it shifts the focus. It shifts the focus away from, like the escalating emotional
Like we're
state.
channeling the energy to like
Yeah.
a direct target. Okay, this is it. That's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
That's good. Shamar, did that answer your question? If you have a supporting question, just put it in the comments. Guys, we're taking live questions right now. If you have a question, again, we're talking about how this book is not just about rage and managing anger. It's really about mastering your emotions to take your life to places it never could be because of relational health and being able to have tough conversations with people who can be tough to deal with. Um, she says, thank you so much. Okay, any other questions? And if there's anything we haven't talked about, what would you like 100% want someone to leave with tonight about something that you teach in this? Like something that's just, you need to know this, you need to hear this.
It's a very simple statement. I say it all the time. You do not have anger issues. You do not have anger problems. Nobody does. The anger management problems is a gimmick. It's not real. You don't have anger problems. You have problems that make you angry. That's it. So focus on solving the problems. Imagine this. You have a problem, you get angry. Solve the problem. Do you have a reason to be angry anymore? Right?
Okay. I hear you. And I'm like, yes.
So
But
solve the problems. Focus on solving problems.
I get it.
Your emotions will resolve themselves.
Okay. But what do we say to somebody who doesn't have an anger problem? They have problems that make them angry, but when they get angry, it goes to a level where it's like, whoa, is that simply just they have an issue regulating emotions
Yes.
across the board? It's just not an anger problem. You have an emotional regulation problem.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And so again, if we focus on solving the problem, then everything else figures itself out. So if I realize that I have a problem regulating my emotions, then I need to do some work.
Yeah.
I need to ask some questions. I need to talk to somebody. I need to gain some skills, right? And so I wouldn't say most, I'd say about 40% of my client base are people who are struggling with anger and emotional regulation. And when I teach them this stuff, they're like, like it's so cool to watch how they slowly, week after week, when they come back for therapy, they go, yeah, I guess I'm learning a little bit. Like they're very slow to say that it's actually working until they go, yeah, but I haven't been as mad lately, so I haven't had a lot of opportunity to practice. I'm like, really?
Are you sure?
I think you're practicing, and that's why you haven't felt so angry lately, right? And so they get to a certain point and they go,
oh, you're right.
Yeah, this is really making a lot of sense, but it's just they need the skills.
So it's problem-solving skills that avoid the feeling of anger, and it's emotional regulation when there is a problem to be able to handle the problem. Yes?
That came out kind of weird. But yes, okay. So yeah, I need to learn how to problem solve so that when I do feel angry, I know what I should be doing. I identify the problem. I find the person who can best help me solve the problem. I tell them what the problem is. I ask them if they will help me solve it, and we work together to solve the problem.
Right.
That's the plan. But if I'm having trouble regulating so that I can't even get to that.
Can't even think about it.
Can't even think about that.
Blazing hot.
I need to find a way to step back, to calm myself down. And I talk about that in the book, the upstairs brain and the downstairs brain. So I need to apply some strategies to re-engage my upstairs brain, to get it problem solving again. And then I take myself through this decision-making model, TSA. I think, what's happening? What does it mean? How do I feel? What do I want? What can I do to get what I want? What's the best thing that can happen if I do that? What's the worst thing that can happen if I do that? Then I make a decision. What's the lifetime value of this event, right? I make a decision about how I'm going to respond to the problem. Because the minute we engage our upstairs brain and start asking questions that are focused on what's my desired outcome, the energy shifts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so good. Okay, so T stands for think. What does S stand for?
S stands for say,
Okay, think, say, and then A is
ask,
ask.
ask. So I'm going to think it through. I'm going to go to the person who can help me solve the problem. I'm going to say, okay, I've thought this through. This is what the problem is as I understand it. This is how I feel about it. And this is how I would really like it to be worked out. And I need your help to make that happen. Are you willing to work with me? Right? So I've thought it through. I've told them, I've said to them, this is what I feel is going on. And then I ask them, can we work together? Is there something we can do to make sure that this problem doesn't keep happening? Because it's upsetting for me. It's going to be upsetting for you. Let's see if we can work it out. Okay, now we're dialoguing,
Yeah.
right?
Now we're problem solving.
Yes.
And now we're avoiding another opportunity for anger to
To crop
overtake.
up.
And yeah. Okay, this is so good. It's tactical, it's strategic, it's equipping, these are tools. Like, okay, I can use this. Again, don't let the title run you off because you're like, rage. Whoa, like who's this for? Hitler? No, this is for anybody. This is for anybody who wants to manage, regulate their emotions, master. That's what you said, master your emotions and master the art of communicating productively so you can problem solve, attack the problem, not the person, and not deteriorate and destroy intimacy within our relationships and trust within our relationships because we didn't know how to productively express ourselves, which is just, it's so important. It's so good. Okay, you have a giveaway to do, two giveaways. How would you like to go about doing that? If you're on, you qualify for the giveaway. So, how do
Yeah.
you want to go
All right.
about giving away? First of all, break down what is in the giveaway.
Yeah.
Again, if this book is in it, that's all you need to know. If there's extra stuff, then that's just an added blessing. But go
Okay.
ahead.
So the first giveaway is for, oh, that's hard to see. Okay. So I have here a blank journal that is an accompaniment to the Rise of Rage. So this is the place where if you want to document your thoughts, if you want to reflect, if you want to do the homework assignments that are in the book itself, then you can use this as your, sort of as the documentation of your journey through the book. So at the end of every chapter, there are exercises and there are suggestions, reflections for you to work through, and you can use this for that. So I'm seeing there's a whole bunch of names that joined on my side, and you've got a bunch of names that jumped on your side. So how do we want to do this, Miss Charity?
Well, we love the participation of those who have asked
Yes.
questions. So far, that's been two people. We've got some comments and some activity, which I also love. It's really up to you. How do you want to do it? But I want to give one example of a reflection because I thought this one was so good. So if you get the journal, you'll know exactly what she's talking about. So one of the reflections asks, which anger styles do you tend to use the most? And of course, all the anger styles are outlined. Where did you learn these styles? My favorite question is coming up. What are the benefits of using them? Is this actually serving me? Is this
Yeah.
actually helping me? Or am I just spewing out fire? Like you talk about the fire breathing dragon. Am I just
Yeah.
out here doing the most? What
Because
is the benefit?
remember the question or the statement, there is no such thing as common sense. People do
Yes.
what makes sense
Makes
to
sense to
them.
them.
So that's why I asked that question, because what are the benefits of using that style? This is why it makes sense to you.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, or this is why maybe you realize it doesn't make sense. Maybe you realize this actually isn't helping me at all. So let me change my belief. What are the negative consequences of using your preferred style? So I just, again, perfect journaling benefits XYZ, consequences XYZ. And you can from there say, maybe I need to make a change. Maybe I need to address this differently.
Yeah.
Okay. How do you want to do this giveaway, Auntie? I don't know. It's still you.
Okay. I'm going to close my eyes because I
Okay.
don't know what else to do.
This is
And
very organic and
I'm going to
non-biased.
scroll through my list of people who are here on my side on Instagram. I'm just going to click on a name.
All right.
Oh, it gave me OneDrive. That didn't work. Let me
Try
try
again.
again. Where did I end up? Belle Flurley.
Are you here? If you heard your IG name, are you here? Put something in the comments because you just won a giveaway. That was on IG or
on Instagram, yeah.
Okay. Are you still here?
Belle, Belle, Flurley. I think not.
Belle Flurley, giving you 5 seconds to claim your prize. If not, we're going to number 2. All right. I don't see anything. Pick another name.
Okay. Mocha Morgans.
Ooh, that's Nayla. Nayla, are you here? Nayla is a part of the Chilling with Charity book club. That would be perfect because my girls showed up tonight, which I love. Nayla, are you on? Claim your prize, girl. Nayla, are you here? Going once.
Oh, yes. I see. Yes, she wins. Okay.
Perfect. Right. Shout out to Nayla. Shout out to Nayla. That's awesome.
She's like, I just said I'm winning tonight. So you win. You win. That's awesome. So stay on, please. And, or I'll tell you what, go to my DMs and let me know how I can get this to you. And we'll get your address.
She's in the GTA, so that's perfect. You won't have to ship it too far.
Excellent. All right. Now we have the big box.
Ooh, what's in the big box?
What's in the big box? I'll show you what's in the big box. I'm giving out secrets right now, okay?
Okay.
So in the big box, everything that's in this box corresponds to a chapter in the book. So here we have the Rise of Rage journal. I'm messing up my pretty box here. And I have to shout out to Janelle Pavley, who created these adorable sock monkeys for me. She did them all. They're hand crocheted. This refers to the chapter, Your Circus, Your Monkeys. So there's a little sock monkey in there.
I love it. I'm sure it'll all make sense once someone gets the book.
Yes. Of course, there's a copy of the book. And then one of the chapters, I don't remember which one, I think Cut the Red Wire, I talk a little bit about breath work and why breath work is important. So there are these lovely little necklaces that help you to regulate your breathing.
Amazing.
So there's one of those. And then we have a lovely metal bookmark that I call the Dragon's Breath bookmark. And so that's your swag.
Oh, it's the whole shebang. This is like the grand prize.
Yes.
Okay.
So now I got to put this all back and make it pretty again.
You got to put it back.
All right, Charity, you're up.
Yeah.
You're going to pick.
I have to pick. Okay. Yeah. Who, I don't know how to pick this. I should have determined this before we got on. Somebody give what their takeaway is from this live, their greatest takeaway, whether it's something that we quoted from the book or that my aunt talked about specifically. Give me a solid takeaway. First one gets it. You want the whole box, you get the book, the journal, something to represent each chapter, stuff to help with breathing and to really put these tools into practice. Your biggest takeaway from the live, first person to comment, if it's actually legit, you get the box. Let's see who it is.
I'm just answering a question here very quickly.
Okay.
So Change Assist asks if the book would be good for teenagers that have experienced childhood trauma. And I'm saying, yes, they could definitely, I wouldn't suggest they use the journal because it's just blank, right? But definitely they could use the book. And if you go to my website, which I'll put in the comments, it's angersolution.com. So www.angersolution.com. And then you go The Rise of Rage with dashes in between. So it's just angersolution.com/the-rise-of-rage.
You gotta text it that.
I will. I'll put it down. So there's a free workbook there that you can download.
And then for anyone, I'm sorry to cut you off.
That's okay.
You said there's a free workbook that you can download just across the board. If someone wants to purchase this book today, Let's say they're not in Canada. Is this available on Amazon? Is it available?
Amazon, Indigo, Barnes and Noble, all the all of the
First of all, clap
booksellers.
it up for being like in all the stores, like the stores. You could just go in and be like, I should go check this Barnes and Noble's right here. Be like, where's my aunt's book? So you can get it anywhere. All right, so we have some comments that came in.
Okay.
I said the first one, but some people got like really specific. So I don't know. Can you see the comments, Auntie, on your side?
I can, yeah.
All right, so Shamara was first. She said, you have problems that make you angry. Love says people are not angry. I guess kind of talking about the same thing. Odorosa 44. I hope I said your name right. You don't have anger issues. Yeah. You have problems that make you angry. That was everybody's like biggest takeaway. Then Miriam says common sense isn't common. People use what makes sense to them. Internalized rage leads to health problems. I don't really know which one. I know I said first, but some had a little more meat than others. How do you want to, am I picking or?
You're picking because, yeah, I think you should pick. Let me see.
Okay,
I'm looking on mine and I see. Oh, okay. Mocha Morgan says no such thing as common sense. People do what makes sense to them. So
Nayla trying to get all the prizes tonight. And Nayla's like, I know I won, but I want the other one. Okay, so just to go by what I initially said, I said the first one to bring a takeaway. I didn't say how in-depth it had to be. Shamara came through with the first one saying you have problems that make you angry. So I'm gonna give it to my girl Shamara. She also is in the Chilling with Charity book club, which means both my people got prizes, which I absolutely love. Shamara, just hit my aunt up in her Instagram DMs. You guys can coordinate how you'll get that. She is in Ohio. So we've got internationals, we've got Ohio, we've got PTA in Canada, and I love all of it. Thank you everyone else for your comments and your contributions. I just had to stick with what I initially said was going to win. Okay. So don't be mad. I've had so much fun doing this because you're just brilliant. This is brilliant. I'm just full. I am full. I feel educated. I feel smarter. I feel better equipped to deal with people, situations, especially ones that tend to be a little harder. I think it gives us grace and it gives us education in that way. So it's not just frustration. It's not just, immediate responses. It's more understanding. It's more, okay, I see what's happening. And you've given us really, really good tools to put into practice. Even the one you just mentioned after Shamara's question, keeping your tone right here. And just those little things, I think it's going to make a world of difference. And I'm just excited for you. So I'm happy that I got to do this with you and introduce your brand new book to the world. You should be beyond proud because it is absolutely amazing.
Oh, thank you so much. And I just want to say, Charity's my girl. I love her so much. I love you so much.
I love you too.
And I'm so grateful that you took the time out. I know you're busy. You got a little one that you're just bringing up, and she is a handful and she's beautiful. And you've got so much going on down there. And I am so glad that we got to do this together. I'm really, really pumped about that. And this has been an absolute blast. I want to thank everybody who has decided that they wanted to come on and watch, whether you're watching the IG Live or LinkedIn or YouTube, however you're connecting with us tonight. I just want to say thank you so much. And hey, go to chapters. There's 2 signed copies of Chapter St. Catherine's. I just want to mention this before I go. If you are in the Niagara region or in the GTA and you would love to just, connect further, I do have a book signing coming up at Kohl's at the Penn Center in St. Catherine's on March the 9th. So I am going to put... I think I put it, let me put it in my comments here. Angersolution.com, The Rise of Rage. And I will put it in here as well, Charity.
Perfect. And how else besides following you on Instagram can people kind of stay in touch with you, what you're doing, your content?
You know what? If you follow me on Insta, that's probably just as good as anything. I'm most active on Instagram and LinkedIn. to a lesser extent Twitter, but Twitter.
Yeah, Twitter, whatever. Basically, everyone follow her on Instagram. That will be more than enough.
That is good enough. And certainly once you go to my website to download the workbook, then you can certainly connect with me via email or whatever through the website.
Perfect. All right. Well, that's it for us. Guys, thank you for being here, for being a part of the conversation. I've enjoyed myself, as I said, 7,000 times. And we'll hopefully for your next book, because I'm sure you're not done. We can do
I
this
am not
again.
done. I'm not done. I've got a new one's coming out March 3rd that I was a contributor to. And there will be another one before the end of the year. So stay tuned.
Incredible. Guys, have an amazing night. If you celebrate Valentine's Day, happy Valentine's Day week.
Yes.
Spread love to whether it's your partner, your friends, your family. 'Tis the season to spread love. Guys, have an amazing night, and we'll see you later. Bye.
Bye.
Well, that was good.
Don't discard the video. What are you doing? No. Okay, I'll just leave that where it is.
It's good.
Stream is